Theodora. It's great to see you. Welcome everybody. Today we are welcoming an amazing artist called Theadora Whittington. She's produced work for the Contemporary Methodist Art Collection and also other amazing children's art, children's illustrations. And so today we're going to be asking her some questions. And we thought what's best would be children's questions. Children who are producing art, children who love to know about art are going to be asking Theodora their own questions today. So we're going to see how that goes. And we've got some children here this morning, Theodora, to meet you. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Good morning.
Sure. Okay. Hiya.
My name's Alfie and I'm 11. And I'm 9. And I'm 8.
Yeah, I can hear Barney best.
Excellent. Well, that's good. That's good, Barney, isn't it? So we are going to ask you some questions, Theodora, if that's all right. And I know that you're going to ask them some questions as well.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Barney's going to start.
Right.
When did you first like doing art?
Okay. So long ago that I really can't remember, but probably younger than you. Yeah, it's probably a very, very long time ago. But then I spent quite a lot of time doing it and not doing it and so on. Yeah, and there's a big gap in my life when I really didn't do it, when I had a completely different career. So there you go. But I was always interested in it. Yeah, okay.
Who first told you you were good at art? Who encouraged you?
Okay, well, my mother used to make things out of bits of material, like she made me an Eeyore, you know, Winnie the Pooh's Eeyore, yeah? She made me an Eeyore out of my school uniform. How's that? Yeah, I had actually grown out of that school uniform, but a grey Eeyore. And she made a tiger and various things like that. She was actually a doctor, but she was quite a constructive person. So that was indirectly encouraging that I could just make things. Also, I would say that she didn't mind my making a mess. I think that's very important. And some parents don't like their kids to make a mess, so the kids don't do so much art as they might do. Do you like making a mess?
Do you like making a mess? Yes.
Well, yeah, you know, I think you have to be, well, you can be a very neat artist without making a mess. Obviously, you can do everything on a computer. But actually, even if you did something on a computer, in order to experiment, you usually have to make a bit of a mess. You can clear it up afterwards, but you have to make a mess to find out. And also, you have to make a mess to do experiments in lots of life. You know, life is messy and you experiment and you have to be prepared to get things wrong and then right and decide what's right and what's wrong. Guess. So, but anyway, so my mother gave me the environment, I would say, to make art. And although my schooling was quite academic, you know, English, maths, science, a lot of science, I did do art. And I have got here, in readiness, something I won a competition for. This is a duck. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got my duck. And I entered that into a competition and I won a box of toffees. Isn't that nice? I can still remember Thornton's toffees. Very good.
Oh, yum.
So that's quite encouraging. I mean, being encouraged is important insofar as it's like a kind of, it's just a kind of saying, yes, you can do something. But sometimes you're not encouraged and you have to do things without being encouraged. And I've had that too, that experience, just doing, you know, what you like doing. That's important. Don't always look for encouragement, just do it. Okay?
Right.
Just do it.
Yes. make a lot of mess. Alfie, your question.
Did you like certain forms of art when you were little?
What's certain types of art? Now, I like paint. I remember having paints and felt tips. I drew a queen once, I remember, in a purple dress in felt tip with red hearts all over it. And my father said, those colours don't go. So they were something discouraging. But it could be discouraging. But still, I remember it because I remember the discouragement. But you have to kind of not care. You know, I want a queen like that. That's how she is. I could try a different colour for her. But anyway, so I do remember felt tips, paint. And actually, interestingly, I don't remember using chalk or pastel. And this is interesting because sometimes when you're experimenting, when you're making messes, you find that there are certain materials you don't really like. And I've never really liked chalk, dry materials. I don't like the feel of it. Do you like the feel of chalk or do you like wet materials? You like chalk, yeah?
I like chalk and pencil.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's fine. And charcoal, I haven't really liked it. Colored pencil, fine. What about the rest of you? Do you like chalk or paint?
What do you like creating?
Do you like it dry or wet?
Pencil.
Pencil?
Yeah.
Barney,
Yeah.
what do you like using?
Paint and pens.
Yeah.
Jack likes
I mean,
junk ones. Yeah.
I mean, you just experiment, and the fact you might not like it one day might mean you like it another day. You know, it's like apple pies. You might not like this one, but you might like another one. Huh? Yeah. You know. So I think experiment. But
Okay.
For me, I didn't like that. Okay, next.
We can move on to Lily's question.
Go on.
We've noticed that your art is influenced by your interest in the environment. When did this start?
Well, I've always liked drawing animals. Do you like drawing animals? Yeah? Well, what about, I mean, what's the environment? It's everything around you, really. Do you like drawing things that live? Or would you rather just draw a mug, you know, still life?
You like still life, don't you?
You like it still, yeah? Still life's interesting because the way the light falls on it sometimes. It's quite interesting because you make still life live by looking at the way the light falls on it, the light and the dark. But no, for me, I think the interest in the environment comes from liking to do things that live. And I've always liked animals, you know, since I was very small. I remember my father taking me to see the crocodiles in London Zoo. I can still remember. So it's always been there, but it was particularly brought out when I came to live in Hong Kong. And that's because sometimes you go to a place that you don't know very well. In fact, a zoo can be like that. Somewhere you don't know, you react to it. Yeah, you find an interest in the things you don't know. So that inspires you. Yeah. Do you find that? Yeah. Go to somewhere unusual. So Hong Kong, unusual place, unusual environment, very polluted at certain times of the year. So again, one's interested in the environment.
Yeah, and we'll move on to a question about that later on because it's
sure.
With the environment and lockdown.
That's right.
And we've seen
here and the now.
We'll move on.
Changing.
Barney has got a really interesting question because when we looked at your art in the books, we just couldn't work something out. So we're hoping you can tell us.
I don't know that I can.
How do you make your art?
So, how do I produce it?
Yes.
How do I produce it? Well, that's quite an interesting question because, again, through my own experiments, I kind of create my own little recipe that I'm making a cake. Yeah, you put in what you like and see if it works and doesn't work. So, what do I do? Well, it depends which artwork you're looking at. which one are you looking at? Tell me which one you're looking at in particular. Or which, just give me, can you think of an example?
The sand turtle and
the sand turtle. Okay. Now I'm looking around here, seeing if I can grab something. I've got my sand turtle. Okay. Well, I'll get you the book because it's easier. And, I could probably grab you something. Okay, I've got the book. Okay, here's the book. Now, the sand turtle. How do I make it? This one. The interesting and very nice thing to think when I take it into schools is that this picture, you see this picture, yeah? For example, the turtle, yeah? And you see all the sand, yeah? I'll tell you how I can show you. The sand is made by going to the beach out there, okay? Collecting some sand, which is in a box, and then I stuck the sand on a large board, which I can show you. I will find this board. Okay, there's the sand stuck down, and then I can move this. But then I put some ink on it. So we have to move you some ink. Do you see some inks? I don't know if you can see the inks. Yes.
Yeah.
And then basically I ink it up on a piece of paper, and I use a thing called an etching press, which I'm trying to show you, which is here.
Look at that. So
it goes through there, and I wheel it through. I'm trying to show you on a Zoom thing, using this. That moves,
wow.
Okay? I sort of put it on. That sort of way. So it's done in a thing called printmaking. So that's how I use it. But you can make your own. I mean, it is basic printmaking, which is a bit like, you put ink on your hand, go like that. It's that principle. Yeah? I expect you've done that. Yes? Yeah? But that's how I've done it. And then I've also made inked up other little things using the textures of bags. I won't go and grab it. But for example, little boy's shirt. It's well, so you can see here that shirt. That's made with a shopping bag. Okay. So I chopped a bit of shopping bag, and then I put red ink over it, printmaking, which is quite oily, quite messy, and indeed, then it goes on that etching press I showed you. That's basically how I do it. And then I sometimes put some paint over it. And I'm also using Chinese paper, which is very thin, so good to print with, which is like that. There's some ink on it, but there you are. Chinese paper is quite thin. So there it is.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's how I did it. And then you put all the collage pieces together. I cut them all out, stick them together. And that's pretty well what I do. Yeah. It's messy. It's very messy.
We're getting a theme here about art being messy. Yes.
Yeah, it's quite a neat and tidy room at the moment, but it can get messy.
It looks amazing. Okay.
I have my limits. I don't like it too messy, but there you go. So that's how I did that. Okay, is that your favourite? Is that your favourite story? Yeah? Favourite pictures?
Yeah.
No, which is yours?
Yes. So Jack, what was the other?
Mermaid?
The mermaid pictures.
The mermaid is made. I can grab a mermaid. I'll show you one thing. We'll have a mermaid. Okay. Right. That is the same type of way as I've shown you, inking things up. That's a bit of old wallpaper, old-fashioned wallpaper, inked up. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that children sometimes like guessing what it is, you see her. You see the net? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think I made the net from? Can you guess?
What did she make the net?
Printing. So what material did I use? What do you think?
An actual net.
Yeah. Do you know what it had? What it had inside it originally? We'll look carefully. Let's have a look. look carefully. What kind of net do you think that is? Something you probably have had.
Fishing net?
Huh?
Net.
It had food in it. Think Christmas.
Satsumas.
No, pretty close. It's the net that the turkey was in. There you go. So unless you're vegetarian, that's what I use. So
nothing goes to waste with your art at all.
No, I've got quite a lot of boxes and rubbish, which I could show you around this room, neatly packed away, but I don't throw anything away. Everything's a possibility. Yeah.
I love that. Everything's a possibility. I think that's going to be my quote of the morning. Right.
Well, yeah.
Who
needs space for possibility?
Sure. Jack's turn. Jack's turn.
Where did you get your ideas to create the art you do?
Where do
I get my ideas? Okay. I think it's just it's just having to think what really actually interests you, yourself, or me, myself, rather than what somebody else thinks you should like. Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes people can say, well, you want to like that. And you think, oh, should I? I don't have any connection with it. So I think it's a matter of like going out and drawing. If you go out with a pencil and a sketchbook and you draw, it's very easy to think, oh, I better draw that tree in front of me. And yet you think, that's not very interesting. So what interests me are just things that I just find amuse me, really. I actually like drawing on trains quite a lot when I'm in the UK. I took my son to Casualty, I remember, when he was 2. He wasn't a very big casualty, and we had to wait for such a long time, and my husband was getting very, very cross. And I found a wax crayon, and I found that I was drawing all the casualties. Pink crayon. So it's people, but drawing people on trains is interesting. Trying to draw them without them seeing you do it is interesting. The way to do it is get a book, or in my case, an iPad, put your sketchbook behind it, and you're kind of looking up, but sometimes they can sit right in front of you and they don't really realize. And you just draw them. That's how I do it. So what interests me are usually things around me. You know, things that are sometimes a little bit, possibly a bit difficult to draw seem to interest me. Drawing animals in zoos interests me, and they move, which is really annoying. So, have you drawn in zoos? Have you tried drawing in zoos?
Well, we live here on a farm.
Farms, they've got animals right there.
Lily has tried drawing some of the animals over lockdown, actually, as art projects as part of her schoolwork. But they don't stay still, do they, Lily? They don't stay still.
No, they don't. How have you found it? You just that they don't stay still, or do you find you kind of draw things and then think afterwards, oh, actually, that was quite like it? Do you ever have that feeling?
No, it's quite hard because they move all the time. I can't get them to sit. So.
Yeah. Can't hear Lily so well because of the microphone being down there. But yeah, it's hard. One tip is take a big piece of paper, a big sketchbook, you know, really kind of an A2 thing, that size, and a big board, and start drawing. Just draw the animal anywhere, fairly small, and then it moves. So you draw another one. You've tried that, and then another one, and another one, and then sometimes it kind of comes back to where it was before. So you kind of go over the one that was like what you're then looking at. That works. Yeah.
Excellent. Right.
Yeah.
Alfie's question leads on from Jack's, really.
Okay. Sure.
Does your faith in God influence your art?
Well, I don't think about it terribly much, to be honest, but it's probably there just in the way that I'm going about things broadly. It's more like, well, we all know what it's like when life isn't very nice. And so what you're trying to do is make the world a bit of a sweeter place by, that doesn't always mean just drawing happy things, but things which kind of empathize with the world round about. So it's kind of showing a love for it. So
yeah,
that. And also I think that when things go wrong, like what's wrong, what's right, but things don't feel quite right, that feeling of being quite sort of forgiving to yourself, or indeed the people who make it difficult for you, is important. You know, so that you can move on. So that feeling of moving on when things don't quite go right or as planned, you know, well, what are my plans? I don't know. I'm guessing.
yeah.
I think that's important. So I think there is that running through the way that I'm trying to make things work. But that's not to say that I don't get cross with it. Oh yes. Normal, I think. Yeah. Go on then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lily's links in quite nicely again to this. So I'll let Lily ask that one.
Yeah. Go on, Lily.
We are really concerned about the environment. We have seen it recover lots during lockdown, but it's starting to be affected by us again. What would you like to see happen to biodiversity over the next 10 years?
Well, I don't know about next 10 years, forever. Well, I mean, I think it would be really nice, I think a lot of people think this way, if the world at large, people could see how important the environment is, or how beautiful it is, for a start. And it's by showing how beautiful it is that, I mean, I think it's important. But of course, there are some bits that are beautiful that are still quite dangerous. I mean, some parts of the world, Asia, you know, not every animal's something you particularly want to see, but they're part of a biodiversity. I mean, plenty of snakes out there in the jungle. And they're not all nice. They're stripy. But a sense that we're all linked up, you know, the animal world, the human world, I think is an important thing, because it makes you realize as well that you care for one another. And that's important. But of course, people do need to go back to their jobs, don't they? And a lot of their jobs, they've just got to learn, you know, they've got to eat. So not everybody's job is sort of sweetly connected to the environment at all. Can't be. And all the things around you in your house, I mean, they have to be produced somehow. Yeah. But there are some jobs, I think it's useful to see things through this epidemic, that could make a better world. The internet itself tells us how we can be more connected up. And also, you know, some of the robotic things that are happening actually over in China, I'm sure everywhere else as well. The ways that cleaning can be done, or electric cars, or all kinds of things, you know, across in China, it's, you know, will go. So some of those things which actually help the environment are important. And then there are things that you realize through caring for the environment and caring for one another. There are things that the internet cannot do, you know, we're all joined together. And those are usually tactile things, like digging the garden. I mean, you know, and smell, taste. Giving one another a hug, of course, which has been a very difficult thing for a lot of people during this time. These are things that you suddenly realize are very important. We are connected. We're connected to one another, and we're connected, you know, to the animal world and to the environment around that. So I would like to think that people could see that. They could see the good from what the internet can do and what it can't do. you know, and yes, how we are joined up in different ways. But yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Lily, what are your thoughts, Lily?
Just well, I said something the other day. I can't remember where. And I said that nothing's gonna change if we don't realise we're doing it. So I think just people to realise that it's us that's not gonna make us to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also being very much aware of what everybody can do, but you know that you people, you know, the younger you are, the more that you suddenly, your eyes pop and you suddenly, oh my goodness, it's much clearer, much nicer. I think the people before us have got it a bit messy, dirty. And of course, you always do think that. I mean, you know, all generations have the same kind of thoughts. And I think it's important that your voices are heard. You know, you tell us what to do. We're listening. Yeah.
We love, Theodora, the way that your books really portray a message, a subtle message there about how we need to look after our environment in such a special way. I love that we now know how you produce the pictures, because for us, we were trying to work it out, but you've reused and you've recycled things to make those pictures. It's really special.
Yes. You don't have to like everything around. You don't have to like any of it. But if you don't like something, again, I think it's often interesting to think, well, why don't I like that? I mean, there's plenty of art out there that I can look at and I can think, I don't know what people see of that. But they do. And you do have, if you go around an art gallery, why you like something tells you a little bit about your own voice in the world. Yeah. It's something that's unique to you, and it will change, or you should let it change. You know, as you experiment. So that's useful. Anyway, it's useful to me. Useful, I hope, to you. So tell me, guys, all of you, what kind of art are you all doing? Okay, Lily's been drawing animals, which is not easy as they move. What about the rest of you?
So I'm just gonna release them for 2 seconds to go and get a picture. So Lily, you want to go and get your one that you've created.
Go get.
Alfie, you go and get that one over there. And Barney had already got one from.
Good. That's nice.
To show you.
Yeah, well, okay.
So
let's
see.
Take
it out.
Yeah, show it to the screen clearly. Get it close so that everybody can see it.
You're going to have to go round to the screen.
Yeah, bring it close to the screen so everybody can see. Let's have a good look. This looks pretty good. Oh, yeah.
So
that's fascinating.
Barney's.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
hey, slow them down. I like the colours. You've got a great love, a sort of sensitivity to using different colours.
Yes.
You know,
so Barney.
Feels.
Barney.
Yeah.
What? Well, he chose to colour. This one is, what colours are there? That's Paul colours, he says.
Yeah.
And this one is
down. Yeah.
Rich colours. Yeah, there's a screen above us, so that's why he's showing them up there.
Yeah, sure.
They're rich and poor colours. So that was Barney's.
Yeah, they're interesting. I like this. This use of warm colours, cooler colours, and a sort of limited palette. You know, thinking what you can do with a sort of smaller number of things, like not too much stuff. Just I really like those pictures. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Lily's been doing some fabulous work. Very different to yours.
Oh, great. Oh, that's nice. That's bold and strong. That's great. Yeah. Enjoy doing those? Yes, that looks good.
Yeah,
Hold it up
was-
again. Yeah.
it was for my art lessons. My teacher asked me to make some pop art, and
Yeah.
so I did some milk bottles, and like I crossed out the plastic ones and did a.
Yeah. It's quite fun doing pop art. Yeah. Have you looked at some of the pop artists? Pop art artists as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite?
Not really. I don't. It's not one of my favourite types of art, but I enjoy doing it. So it's fun.
Well, it's always good. Again, you experiment and you think, it's
Yeah.
not my favourite. Move on to another one, and then see, and then, well, a few years you might prefer that one. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then Alfie has been exploring using pastels this week. So, and
Okay.
might be.
Whoa, I like that. That's good. Also looks good against your shirt. I mean, I'm sure that wasn't intended, but they go very nicely in your shirt. Very great. Great stuff.
And so Jack's is really quite difficult to show you, but we're going to attempt because it's above our heads. It's above our heads. Because Jack is
Okay, well, let's try.
Jack is really into junk modelling. So
All right. That's all right then.
can you
Let's
see?
Oh, that's
there?
all right. Now I like this. Oh, yes. Yeah. So that looks like from here we seem to have goodness me, that's pretty. That looks like a rocket or something. Is that a rocket?
Yeah, there's a rocket there.
I've made rockets.
Yeah. Jack, do you want to explain what was the rocket
Explain.
for? Why did you make the rocket? You don't want to say? Oh, Jack
No?
has gone silent now.
Oh, well,
Run away.
I have made several rockets. I made my son a rocket for his, I think it was Christmas present when we were living in Cambridge. And I remember it was so huge. He thought it was pretty real, I think. And then I did another rocket, which you might find on my website. I think it's there. I think you see a picture. There's a girl with a rocket cake in front of her. If you look on the website, you'll see another rocket.
We'll look that up.
Look at my rocket as well. I liked doing that. I've made quite a few rocket cakes in my time for my children. Yeah.
Rocket cakes, that's exciting. Oh,
I've had rocket cakes. The awful one was when one of my sons once said, day before his birthday, they share a birthday, my sons. They're 2 years apart, but share the same day. And he said as he was going to sleep, Mum, can you make a microlight out of cake? That's a challenge for you.
Yeah, definitely.
You put that stuff on the ceiling, just try making a microlight out of cake.
No, that's fine. Theodora, we want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it's not this morning with you. It's this afternoon.
Yeah, it's evening. Yeah, with the dog. But
we hope that you have a great time with the dragon boat racing tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's a scaled down one because of the pandemic, because people couldn't do big teams because they couldn't train. But there's going to be something. Dragon boating's all right.
But thank you so much for your time. It's great the work that you put in to inspire the artists, the young artists that we have on this planet at the moment, and the way that they communicate through their art. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And I hope keep making art. I mean, life is an art, hey?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll be in touch again soon. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.